Welcome, guys! Welcome back to my YouTube channel! Yay! And today we are going to be reacting to 4 disturbing true high school horror stories. Yay! I can't wait for this. Yeah, I'm doing Mr. Nightmare today because I've had a lot of going on, a lot of mental health going on. So I haven't been doing videos in a while, but we're back on track. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and click the bell beside you. Anyway, let's jump right onto it, shall we? Woo! This one was 5 years ago. Damn. Damn. Okay. Let's jump right onto this. Monstrosity High School. I haven't done Miss Nightmare video in a while.
I was a new student at high school.
Bless me.
Going into my junior year of high school, not knowing anyone was really rough. Everyone obviously had their friend group sorted out by then. The worst part was lunchtime, though. My school wouldn't let juniors leave for lunch, only seniors. So I had to eat in the cafeteria. I was dreading it because I knew I'd have no one to sit with, and I didn't want to force myself into a random table. When lunchtime finally came, however, I walked into the cafeteria with my tray of food looking for a place to sit. Every single table was taken. I didn't even have the option of sitting alone. But there was one table in the corner of the cafeteria with only 2 kids sitting at it. That was the least intimidating spot to sit. So I walked over and asked if I could sit there. They both looked at each other, and one of them said yeah. I noticed upon sitting down that the two were identical twins. They looked like they were partially of Hispanic heritage, but they didn't have accents. They honestly seemed alright. They introduced themselves as Antonio and Bruno, and they had a conversation with me. They invited me to hang out with them after school, and honestly, I figured why not? I had to start off somewhere as far as making friends. I got their numbers, and after school, I went home to drop off all my stuff.
Nope.
Shortly after, I got a text from Bruno, telling me he and his brother were planning on hanging out. He told me to meet them around 9 that night at the nearby cemetery that was like a 10-minute walk from my house. He said there was a
What
full
is it
moon.
with people walking past cemeteries and like forests and that? Like, why? At least it's not at night time. I mean, bad stuff happens at daytime too. Just saying. My ear just popped, so I can hear better. Yeah, I don't know. These twins sound a bit crazy.
Plus, the first day of school was on a Friday, so we had off the next day. I had nothing to do, so I said, yeah, I'm down. When the time came, Bruno texted me one more time asking if I was still coming. I said, yeah, I'm gonna leave in a few. I confirmed we were meeting on the road by the cemetery. He said, yeah. So I began my walk in the dark to the cemetery. The longer I walked, the more I thought about
Sorry,
my
my mistake. He does walk in the dark.
thinking about the fact that I was literally walking to a cemetery at night to hang out with 2 kids I just met. But anyway, I got to the
Wait,
point
what? Sorry, I must have zoned out or something. He's going to a cemetery at night to hang out with people he just met? Nah. Red signs out the ass. Nah. You got me out of here. Get out of here. Ray's out of here. Get out. I got chills. Like, nah, I would freak out. I would be like, sorry, can't do it. No. Anyway.
to the cemetery and asked Bruno where they were. He started typing right away, and he said they were in the woods hanging by a small lake that they wanted to show me. Then he promptly sent his location. So I made my way into the woods, pushing branches out of my way, using my tiny phone flashlight as my only light. I started calling for Bruno and Antonio as I felt like I was close enough. according to the location he sent me at least. Suddenly I heard footsteps, so I stopped. Definitely footsteps approaching me, but they were very low and slow. They called out that they better not be trying to scare me. When they weren't answering me, though, I decided this was stupid. I turned and started walking back towards the road. But those footsteps I mentioned earlier, they turned from quiet and slow to fast, and before I could even react, someone had their nails digging into my neck, effectively choking me. I heard a familiar voice screaming, "Grab him, grab him." I managed to break free from the sort of chokehold and sprinted towards the road. I know they followed me until the tree line by the road. I was faster than them, and I could run for miles. And that's what I did. I ran straight home and told my parents.
That's
They considered
scary. Oh, that gives me chills. Especially if you've only just know these people and they're like they're like crazy psychopaths in the wild, like trying to grab at you. Like I don't know that gives me chills down my spine. Just
calling
saying.
the cops, but I thought it would be better to get pictures of the nail marks on my neck and report it to the school the next day. That's what we did, and with the help of the text that I got from Bruno, I was able to get the two students expelled. My parents made me block both their numbers. I didn't exactly argue with that, though. My parents wanted me to confirm that these kids didn't know where we lived, and I told them simply, not as far as I know. So, anyway, one night about a week later, I woke up to my room feeling really cold. I heard the sound of windows
Oh, they
moving,
broke into the house, haven't they? Feeling cold. They probably broke into the house. Woo!
and I looked at the window to see it was slid completely open. I wondered if my mom came in to open it, but that would make absolutely no sense. It was like 50 degrees out that night. I walked over to it and looked down below. A few feet below my bedroom window, there's a part of the exterior of my house that comes outward, creating a sort of ledge underneath my window that my father always told me to jump onto in case of a fire. I shut my window and walked over to my parents' bedroom. I gently knocked and opened the door, and my mom groggily asked what. I had to ask her if she opened my window. She sat up saying, "No, why?" I told her in a louder, more concerned voice now that my window was opened all the way by somebody. She started shaking my dad to wake him up and go check my room with me. But when he woke up, he told me to grow up and go back to sleep. I left my parents' door open as I walked back down the hall to my room. Then, I picked up on something that I'm surprised I picked up on. My door. It seemed to be half shut now, as opposed to completely open when I left. I pushed the door open just a little bit so I could get a look through the crack
No.
and see if, you know, someone was behind the door. Even though I had the thought of the possibility, I never could have actually expected to see it. There was someone hiding behind my door.
Woo! Mr. Night. Mr. Nightmare. Ooh, got chills down my spine. No, seriously, no. I'd be out of there so far. Like, I'd just be like, Mom, Dad, someone's in my. I probably would shut the door. I would shut the door. I'd lock them. Oh, wait, no, they'd go out. I'd try to get them, like, I'd try to. Oh, no, there's two of them. I'd call out my parents really quick. Yeah, I don't know what I would do. It'd probably, like, well, I'd have to let my parents know that there's someone in the house, but I'd be calling the police and I would just tack them to the floor or something. Get mum or dad to tack and get. I don't know, but oh, can you just imagine someone behind your door in the corner? Oh, imagining he was asleep and I was at the foot of his bed. Two guys just standing at the foot of his bed watching him sleep. Uh, that would even be more scarier. I'd be out of there. No. No, seriously, this is. You should have reported this to the police, to be honest. They should have reported this. Like, my son got attacked by two individuals who happened to be twins. Like, where's their parents at, too? Like, shouldn't their parents be involved in this to know that they've raised two psychopath twins? Just saying.
And for my dad like a little girl. I screamed so loud I'm sure it could be heard 3 doors down. Then my door suddenly slammed shut, just as my dad came rushing out of his room over to me. I screamed, "There's people in my room," so he barged into the room and turned the light on. At that moment, we saw the leg of the person jumping out my window. My dad ran to the window, then downstairs and out the front door to attempt to chase them down. But he came back a few minutes later out of breath, saying he didn't see anyone. Full of energy and fear, I swore it had to be those twins that I got expelled. My dad called the police. I had to talk to them when they arrived, explaining the whole story back to the incident in the woods. My father backed up my story, but without proof of who entered. They said there wasn't anything they could do. They merely ordered us to lock the doors and consider installing cameras outside. As positive I am that it was either one of or both of those twins in my room. After getting through a solid couple months of sleeping in fear, nothing to this nature ever happened again. Looking back now, I don't know why I was so willing to meet these kids in the woods at night. I should have realized in the cafeteria that day that they looked like trouble, and I should have stayed away.
Yeah, but it's always the quiet ones. Don't hang out with sus, quiet people. No, they could have been quiet and they could have been nice people. I know a lot of good introverted people. They were just psychos. Minimum friends. Minimal friends. Can't say that word. That word's very hard to say.
Freshman year of high
Oh,
school,
I hate when it gets rid of my subtitles.
gym class last period. We had a substitute gym teacher on one of the stormiest days of the year.
But yeah, sorry, I forgot to give that a rating. I'd give that one probably about an 8.5. I could have gone 9 as 2 because he was out in the woods. No, I could go a 9, but I give like when he was in the bedroom. Oh, I don't know. I'll give it a 9 because oh, there was two of them. If it was one of them, I would have gave it 8.5. But there was two of them, so 9. That was disturbing. But yeah, anyway.
Older man, not a senior citizen, but gray, maybe 55 to 60.
Wait, what?
He took attendance.
Sorry.
Freshman year of high school, 2007. Gym class last period. We had a.
Hold on. I'm just gonna get some water.
He was an older man, not a senior citizen, but gray, maybe 55 to 60. He took attendance. When he passed me, he did a double take at me, which I found a bit uncomfortable. Not to float my own boat, but I always understood I looked older and really good for a freshman in high school. The sub told us to get into our volleyball teams, and he disappeared into the hall by the locker rooms for a while. 40 minutes went by and the period was over. It was time for us to get changed and go home. I got into the locker room, but for some reason, my locker wasn't opening. I tried my usual combination over and over and over. It wouldn't click open though. I had to go to the sub and let him know to ask for my combination again. I figured maybe the combo just slipped from my mind for some reason. The sub told me to give him a few minutes and he'd get the list of locker combos. I waited outside the office, and out he finally came with a book in his hands, open to a specific page. He walked into the girls' locker room with me, which I didn't expect him to do. The locker room was basically empty now, with one girl finishing up changing. He walked over to my locker and tried the combination written down on the paper. Didn't work no matter how many times he tried it. Each time he tried it and failed, he would look at me and laugh. I would force myself to laugh along to be polite.
He's probably a pedophile. I hate pedophiles. I really do. I truly, truly despise them. Like, They deserve to be. Ugh. This is a teenage girl. Like, he's probably the one that locked the thing. I would not be surprised that this motherfucker's in cahoots. And was the one that locked the lock, like, locked the locker, like that. He's the one that, like, yeah. Anyway, I'd be getting out of there while he's successfully trying to open your locker.
Put his hand on my shoulder.
Oh, fuck that. Would have punched him.
But it didn't work again. I felt his hand slowly started inching down from my shoulder to my lower back. I pushed myself away, grabbed my bag, saying, "It's okay, I'm late for my bus." He tried to combo in the locker one more time, and it opened. He smiled and walked away. I waited till I heard the locker room door shut. Then I proceeded to getting changed quickly, when suddenly the room went dark. I finished pulling on my pants and shoved my locker in the dark. I threw on my backpack and started walking to the back exit of the locker room, which led outside. I feared that the sub would be waiting right by the door for me. I got predatory vibes from him. When I got to the end of that specific aisle of lockers I was in the intersection of two rows. I'd have to turn down left to get to the exit door, but still. Naturally, I had to look right to make sure that it was clear.
How do you do that in
There
the
was a
dark?
little light seeping in from one single rectangular window that sat under the ceiling. It was enough. Enough for me to see him peeking at me from around the wall of lockers. So that's when I ran for the exit door. He came over behind me, saying, "Wait, wait, wait, it's not what it looks like." I ran outside into the rain off the campus of the high school.
Why would you say that? That just gives it all off. Like, seriously, just don't say anything. Like, you're already giving off bad vibes as it is, and we all know deep down you're just a fucking predator who's just preying on like innocent people, like young individuals. Like, you don't need to bring in the whole wait, it's not what it looks like. That just makes you even more suspicious. Like, now they're gonna just now they're gonna just know that you are exactly what you have just acted on upon, if you know what I'm trying to make sense. I don't though. But yeah, fuck that. Fuck him. I mean like, don't just get out of there while you can. Don't look back.
giving me time to reflect on what happened. By the time I got home, soaking wet, it came to me that he most likely changed my locker combination somehow.
Yeah,
So
of
he was
course he
getting
did.
along with me in the locker room. As for what he could have possibly been planning to do when he cut the lights, I never wanted to imagine. Honestly, I was too emotionally scared and quite frankly embarrassed to tell anyone about it. Not even my parents or friends. It was something I just kept to myself all these years because truthfully, I just don't feel comfortable telling people.
But you told Mr. Nightmare.
His love for designer cars.
Yeah, that was very disturbing. That one would be like a 9.5, only because if that was me and some guy or some girl, or just somebody was just checking me out, just ran, I would be very, yeah, sickened. I would not feel comfortable. That one's definitely more disturbing than the last one. Whew. Not fucking funny at all. Fucking
When I was
pedophile.
in high school, I was in the band. At my school, band was basically an easy A. It was either that, orchestra, or chorus. So I went with band. Anyhow, our band teacher, Mr. Nicholson, had the grading system set up so that as long as you attended class and went to your weekly lessons, you got an A. Sadly, towards the end of one quarter, I was missing two lessons. Because of that, my grade was a B. I went to him after class to ask if I could make up the lessons, and even though he seemed reluctant, he said he would let me come in during a lunch period and practice in one of the downstairs storage rooms to get credit for a lesson. I was more than happy with that, because realistically, I would probably just play games on my phone anyway instead of actually practicing. I arrived to the music room during my lunch period the next day. So I took my saxophone and headed down the stairs outside the music room towards the basement area for the music department. It was always kind of creepy down there because absolutely no one besides the music teachers would go down there usually. And the lights were kind of shitty. I'd only been down there a couple times before that day. But anyway, I walked down the hallway, and on either side were a bunch of doors that led into small, maybe 7 by 7 feet rooms. All of these rooms were used for storing things like chairs, music stands, spare instruments, Christmas decorations, and whatever. I stepped into one of the rooms and shut the door. I set up my music on one of the stands in the room, just in case Mr. Nicholson were to come down to check on me. But really, I didn't plan on actually playing. I started playing games on my phone, and then flick, darkness. Like, as dark as it could get. Minus my phone screen. I looked over to the light switch to the room, just instinctively. Flicked it up and down a few times, but that did nothing. I stumbled as I got up from the seat to open the door, to more darkness. I held my phone out in front of me to light up this little hallway, even if it was just barely. I think I had like an iPhone 3 or something. Those old ones didn't have flashlights. But anyway, that little light from my phone was enough to see one of the doors open near the end of the hall. And I heard something being dragged in that room, like one of the big plastic containers. There was also manic breathing, followed by animal-like grunting. Then I saw a big plastic container being pushed out of that room into the hallway. As I saw this, I turned off my phone screen and went back into the room I was just in. I shut the door so quietly. I don't know what exactly I was thinking in that moment that I decided to hide, but I think the strange sounds I was hearing from this person, mixed with the random blackout, made me wary of staying in that hallway. Whoever that was blocking the stairs, though. And of course, I got no reception down in that little basement area. All I felt comfortable doing was sitting in that room and waiting for the lights to hopefully turn back on. But the lights seemed like they were never going to turn back on.
Nah,
So I decided
I'd be I'd be having. Seriously, my Kara has the vacuum on. I would be so far out of the. I would have like chills down my spine. Like I would go in full on panic mode and freak out. I'd have paranoia. I'd start having paranoia moments and start freaking out, thinking this. I wouldn't even go back in that room because you never know. Someone could have just walked in that room that you were in the through the darkness. Yeah, giving off bad vibes.
and get back upstairs again. I quietly opened the door with my phone in front of me for light. Then I stepped into the hall. I inched up a little closer to the stairs, and I heard something again. I quickly crept into the next closest room with the door open and shut it. I still didn't know what I was hiding from. Could it have been a staff member or a janitor? At that point, the only reason I had of thinking it wasn't was because they only appeared down there after the lights turned off. I stood in that room in complete darkness, only listening and waiting for another sound from outside. But you know how when you're in a room with someone, even if you don't necessarily hear them, you can kind of just sense their presence? That's suddenly the feeling I got standing in that pitch black room. I lifted my shaking hand up and pressed the home button on my phone to turn on the screen, just for half a second.
Seriously.
Even if you don't necessarily hear them, you can kind of just sense their presence. That's suddenly the feeling I got standing in that pitch black room. I lifted my shaking hand up and pressed the home button on my phone to turn on the screen, just for half a second. That was enough to see someone standing in the corner of this little storage room, 3 feet away from me.
I told ya, don't go back in that fucking room. I knew someone was gonna be in that room, like, hiding, like, oh, I've just gotta go back in that room that I was in with the darkness. No, you should have stayed in that room in the darkness. Oh, fuck that. I'd be out. I'm so far gone out.
I pretended I didn't see anything, but it was too late. is what I heard, breaking the silence. Then a hand patted my shoulder twice and started squeezing it. I basically dove for the doorknob, struggling to find it at first, but pulling the door open when I did. The man in the room with me tried pushing the door shut after I opened it, but I was already out. I ran up the stairs and out the door to the main level of the music hall, where the lights were still on. I ran to Mr. Nicholson to tell him, out of breath. He called security to check the basement section of the music hall, but security came back upstairs and said, besides a bunch of music equipment moved around, there wasn't anyone down there. The rest of the period, Mr. Nicholson canceled his flute lesson, and I sat there in the room with him and 5 flute players, explaining the whole story in detail. Without cameras in the music hall, there was no way of catching whoever went down there and killed the power for the basement. It seemed that he was trying to steal expensive music equipment. That, or God knows what else. The next day, I was called into the dean's office to give my story of what happened, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that was very scary. That would have been probably an 8.5. I was gonna go a 9, but probably an 8.5. I could go 9 too. That is very disturbing. Not as disturbing as the second video. But like, ooh, I've got the chills. Like, I've chills down my spine. Yeah, definitely. I would not be associating with this. Yeah, no. Like, I fucking knew. I knew that there was gonna be someone in that music room. I knew. So I was like, oh, she's gonna go back in the room, and there's gonna be someone because she obviously left the door open while hearing someone, seeing someone from. So I was like, I bet you someone's gonna be in there, and there was. No, yeah, no. Remember to lock the doors, people. Anyway, story number 4.
One night, my friends and I hatched a genius plan. We'd sneak into the high school basement through one of the windows that was broken and never fixed. The thing about this window, you'd have to hop a short metal gate surrounding an outside staircase leading to the basement. Not that it would effectively stop anyone, but it added that extra barrier that makes you feel like you were really doing something devious when you crossed over it. We made sure there weren't any security cars anywhere nearby and hopped the gate. Crawling in through the window proved difficult, considering we had to boost ourselves up, then crawl through an insanely skinny opening. But once we were in, we were in. We kind of dispersed from each other to explore different areas. One thing was for sure, the basement of the school was a mess, and anything but interesting. There was little light. One small white light was on in the far corner, and the exit sign might actually produce more light than you'd think.
Why would you go into abandoned school? Like, but okay.
I was looking around when I saw one of my friends in front of me. He whispered, "Let's go upstairs." So I followed him upstairs, and they opened the door up to the main hallway of the school. Everything was dark. I always thought there were at least some lights left on in the school at night, but no, not a single light was on. And all that really stood out as far as the eye could see were the various exit signs glowing red. I followed my friend down the hall and remembered saying, "Dude, this is really creepy." And he replied back, but I realized he was right. Who knew if somebody else could be in the building besides my friends and I? Little did I know just yet. I followed my friend to the bathroom, and he went into one of the stalls. I whispered, "Hurry up." I waited for a while. Then my phone started to
It's
ring.
very eerie.
I picked up, and it was one of my friends, Chris. He asked, "Where the hell did you go?" I said, "I'm upstairs with either Roland or Brandon." He said, "What do you mean? They're with me." And right after, both Brendan and Roland said hi, apparently on speakerphone. I stuttered the word "I," stopped, trying to think straight. Then there was a laughing coming from in the stall. Not the laugh of any of my friends. I looked up at the stall.
Ooh.
There was someone looking over it at me, probably standing on the toilet. I screamed holy shit over and over into the phone as if
I hate being alone. I would hate that feeling and then being like, this one's one of the scariest ones. I think this is the second scariest one because this one's definitely a 9 again, but this one's scarier than the first one. So I'm pretending. Again, that would scare the shit out of me. This one is creepy as shit. Fucking hell, I've got chills, man.
I left the bathroom. Shortly after I was out, I heard the stall door slam shut. I tried to run back to the basement in the dark, but it wasn't too easy to find in the dark. Luckily, I managed to find it, so I started to scream their names as I ran down the stairs. I screamed, "Go, go," when they answered, and we one by one jumped off some kind of bucket onto the window ledge and crawled back outside. I was the first one out, though, afraid that person from the bathroom was following. When we were all outside, I explained to them, out of breath, while also laughing now that I felt safe with all of them next to me. I guess we were loud or something, though, because as we all just started looking around at the whole school building and all the classroom windows, in one of the downstairs windows was someone with their hands pressed up on the glass. We could only see maybe half their face. I said that's gotta be him, as Roland ushered us to get the hell out of there. We ran until we were off the premises of the school, and that was that. We came up with a lot of possible explanations, but none of them really made
Probably
sense.
someone on drugs.
Obviously, we never did anything like that.
Some madman. Woo! That was definitely like a 9. Definitely for sure. Damn. Anyway, yeah. They were disturbing. No, never going back to high school ever again. That was my reaction to 4 disturbing true high schooler horror stories. Woo! That was very disturbing. I think because I haven't reacted to a Mr. Nightmare video in nearly a month now. It's been like 3 weeks to a month now. Oh, this is very, yeah, this was very, like, disturbing. I have chills, like, I don't know. My hairs are standing up. But yeah. Whoo! I can't even look out my window because I'm freaked the fuck out, especially in that story. I think the second one might be the worst one out of the 4, like the scariest. It was definitely the most disturbing. Since this one says 4 disturbing true high school horror stories. Definitely that one. Then this one. This one was very disturbing. Not anymore. Anyway, yeah. That second one, though, was disgusting and very disturbing. Third one, like, we were all like, well, me especially, I was like, there's somebody gonna be in that room. I bet you when she goes back in the room after she came out of it in the darkness, somebody's gonna be back in that room. And there was. I was like, I fucking knew it. And then that first story with that, what was the first story again? I had to think for a minute. I forgot the first story. I don't remember. What was the first story again? I'm so slow. I'm like an old person when it comes to phones. I'm like a very old person. Oh yeah, the triplets. Oh, the twins. I keep saying triplets. But the twins, yeah, they were disturbing. I think it would have been worse if they were standing at the foot of your bed or they were underneath your bed or something. It would have been worse, but I guess they were under your bed. Maybe they were under your bed. Because you didn't see them at the crack of the door when you ran out. Or maybe one of them was. I don't know. That's disturbing, though. That is very disturbing. Again, don't go on Snapchat because Snapchat, you have snap mats to your Snapchat, so anybody can find you. Yeah, very disturbing. I do think the music room was definitely the weakest story, but like it was still very disturbing. But yeah, I got chills, man. Never again. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, please subscribe, turn the notification, and click the bell beside you. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Bye.